So you say you do fasting pretty much every day?
Yeah, man. So, I do 11 to 7. So I eat, I don't eat anything before 11 a.m. and I don't eat anything after 7 p.m.
Okay, yeah, and that's technically it's like intermittent fasting, right? That's what it's called. Yeah. And how long have you been doing that for?
Man, so I'm going on about a month, and I'm down 20 pounds.
Damn. Okay. Do you work out?
I work out too. So working out about 3 to 4 days a week. 3 for sure. Sometimes I get 4. My job is all over the place sometimes. So I want to get it in, and then I'll get home, and then the wife is like, hey, you want to watch a movie? So if I don't go to the gym in the morning and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go tonight, then the wife's like, hey, let's watch a movie, or let's do this, or let's do that. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta cut it for today. But yeah, man, it's been nice. I mean, I think it's the easiest way to lose weight without changing your diet, right? Yeah. Because I haven't really changed my diet. I don't eat like really bad meals, but I don't eat good meals either. Yeah, right? I feel you. So like I might have a burger, but I don't have the fries.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's especially when you're so busy, right? It could be sometimes hard to like just really stick, because sometimes you just need to get some food in.
Absolutely, bro.
So and I'm sure like you're around, especially when you work at a certain place, not everybody's gonna be eating the healthiest things. So sometimes it's like you kind of just get caught up in that. But no, that's good, man. Especially if you have that window, it's really easy to like not go over your daily calories, because you only have a certain amount, right?
That's right.
Sometimes what messes people up is like those late meals, right? Like after a certain time, like those late night meals, are what gets a lot of people.
That's what used to be my biggest downfall.
Yeah,
was eating late. Like I would go out with some of the guys, and as soon as we left the bar, it was like Whataburger.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Or we were at the bar and they still had a kitchen open. Like, hey, let me order before we leave here. You know. So I had to cut that out, man. But as soon as I cut that out, man, my body just started changing. You know, and I'm about 280 now. I want to come down to about 240. Yeah, which is roughly about my high school weight.
Okay, because you still have a big frame, like that's So I mean that's a solid weight. Did you play sports in high school?
Yeah, high school, man. Played football, basketball, baseball.
And you went to Bel Air, right?
Bel Air. Yeah, Bel Air High School. Love that school, man. I still, to this day, I'm still an advocate for that school. And I gave my first scholarship 2 years ago, and that was such a good feeling, man. Huge gratitude. I mean, and it was nice because I felt like when I went to Bel Air, I was one of those kids that didn't grow up with much, so there was a lot of like programs that were kind of helping me out, right? We had like a alumni Bel Air group that of these older ladies and gentlemen, and they were, oh, he needs basketball shoes, so they give me basketball shoes, right? Or he needs $300 to go out of town on this basketball trip. Let's sponsor him, So they did a lot of stuff like that for me. So I was able to do things in high school that I wouldn't have been able to do for myself, right? Or my parents wouldn't have been able to do. So I just know now I got to give back, like,
for sure,
little at a time, and until I can get to the point where I'm doing a lot more, money and kids, and to make it so it stretches a little bit, right?
For sure.
I don't want to give, $100 scholarship, because really in today's world,
today's society,
what is it going to do, right? Yeah. You go to McDonald's 3 times and spend spend $100.
My tuition was damn near $50,000, man. So it's college is expensive, man. So yes, for sure, anything helps, but like you said, like you it's definitely not the easiest thing, especially financially for someone. But the fact that you're doing that for someone is, because I heard you talk about that. You were saying how because people did that for you when you were, I guess, growing up. that's kind of what you've carried with yourself through the years as you've grown up, that you want to do the same for like other people, right?
100%.
And that's something that not just from you on your podcast, because I listen to it a lot, but something that a lot of people have talked about, especially about yourself, is just you're very giving to others, and I think that's one of the best like characteristics that anybody could have.
Appreciate
so I think
it,
that's amazing. So what do you think that is that something that like you're very intentional about? Is something that you actually actively try to pay attention to and that you try to do, or is that just kind of who you feel like you just are?
Yes, actually, that's a great question. I've never been asked that question itself. It's definitely not intentional. It's just who I am, right? So I don't try to go out of my way to do it because I'm like, okay, I built this character, I got to do this. It actually happens very natural for me.
Okay.
So I just do it. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, oh, shoot, man. I look back at the year and I'm like, dang, I did this, I did that. I helped this person. Sometimes I don't even remember helping someone, right? I talked about this on my podcast where I helped this one individual and I didn't even remember helping him, right? Mm-hmm. And I just took him to lunch in high school, right? But that same day, he was contemplating suicide, right? And I had no idea. I just knew when I was walking by him in the hallway, he just didn't seem himself. So I was like, hey, you all right? And he was like, I'm okay. And then, he just kind of kept walking. And I said, hey, Ray, turn around, man. Let's go to lunch. Come to lunch with us. So we went to lunch and had a good time, and I didn't have much money. I had probably $5. Mm-hmm. So I bought probably 2 double cheeseburgers. He got 2 double cheeseburgers and that was it, right? But it was just the thought, I guess, for him and the laughter that we had at lunch that was able to change his thinking, mm-hmm. right? And you would think like, all right, Christmas, you only gave $2, right? It really isn't the giving of $2 that I focus on or that comes natural, right? I just give. Sometimes it's in big amounts, sometimes it's in small amounts, mm-hmm. right? But giving him the laughter was more than actually the money, right? Yeah, for the sure. Laughter and just like forgetting about his problems, right? So I didn't even know I did that for him until roughly about 2 years ago. He reaches out to me on Facebook and he's asked for my number. So I thought he wanted a car because that's what most people do. Hey, Christmas, what's your number? I want to call you. I'm looking at this car, whatever. Yeah. So, and he's bought 2 cars for me too. Mm-hmm. But he reaches out to me and he says, hey, Christmas, man. He's like, I wanted to call you because there's something you don't know that you did for me back in high school. And I'm like, what? So he's like, yeah, man, he's like, I don't know if you remember, but there was one time I was walking through the hall and you stopped me and you're like, hey, you okay? You said what's up. And then I said what's up. And I guess the way I responded, you were like, hey, you okay? And you invited me to lunch. He was like, that lunch, I was on my way out of school and I was going to commit suicide.
Oh, snap. I didn't see that. This is my nephew, by the way.
Hey, what's up, man? What's up? This
is Mr. Christmas.
How you doing?
Say what's up?
How you doing? But, so when that happened, man, I was like blown away. And immediately my eyes watered, right, mm-hmm. on the phone. And I'm like, Ray, what? I had no idea. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the best part about it is when you're being intentional, trying to give, it's a good thing. It's still a good thing, mm-hmm. right? But when it just comes naturally, you do a lot of things like that.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Where you save people's lives, you didn't even know it.
And the fact that how long ago was that?
That was about, well, when I saved his life or invited him to lunch, that had to be about 17 years ago, man. Like 19 years ago.
Yeah.
And he still remembered.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you, like, there's literally just moments throughout our lives that stick with us for years and years and years, and you might not have realized it, but that one moment just meant, I mean, that moment changed his life. If you think about it, it saved his life, it changed his life, and
Yeah,
I think actually, I mean, that's an amazing story. And I think a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people can relate as far as there's interactions that they remember throughout their entire life.
Yeah.
So it just kind of reminds you that you should always just, I feel like no matter who you come across, I think you just have to, more than anything, just like check up on people and just make sure, like, because you don't have to do that, but like you said, I think the fact that you don't remember it just shows that that's just who you are.
Yeah,
because it was just something that you naturally did.
Yeah, man. And I didn't remember the sequence or anything, you know. And he tells me, yeah, we went to lunch and we were laughing about this, that, and we were with Sonny and this and blah blah. And I'm like, dang, you know, I had so many times at lunch where I would invite people to go with us and we'd have a good time. So I didn't remember specifically. And then 19 years ago at that, you know, and I don't feel like my memory is the best out there either, you know. So it was just a really good thing, man. And I was so glad that he told me. But to make this story even better, so my parents, they still live next to my old high school, right? And then next to my old high school, there's a middle school, which is Bel Air Middle.
Would you consider that Lower Valley? Is that Lower Valley?
Yeah. So there's Bel Air Middle, and Bel Air Middle is like 10 houses away from my parents. So a lot of the parents, when they're picking up their kids for school, they park in front of my parents' house, like waiting for their kids to walk over to get in the car, right? So Ray happens to be parked in front of my parents' house, or not parked in front of my parents' house, but like a couple houses down. And but he knows which house is mine, right? And he decided to just stop on his own, you know. And this is after he told me the story, but this is like maybe about 6 months after he told me the story. And he sees my dad sitting outside, and he's like, "Hi, Mr. Christmas, you know, I'm Ray." And my dad always sits on the porch, you know. So my dad comes over, "Hey, how you doing, Ray?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Anthony's friend, you know." He's like, "I'd love to tell you a story." And he tells my dad the story, and my dad was just like blown away, man. My dad immediately called me afterwards, and he's like, "Anthony, man," he said, "you're a gift of God, brother." He's like, you know, Ray just and I have another friend named Ray, and he's my best friend. So when he was like, "Ray just told me this story," and I was like, "What funny ass story did he tell?" Right? You know, something crazy, right? Yeah. But when he's like, no, not Moncito, because that's what we call him. He's like, "Ray, you know, another guy, Ray," and he was telling me about a story about him committing suicide or gonna commit suicide, and you saved his life. And he's like, "Man, Aunt, you know," he's like, "I don't know what we did to raise you like that, you know, but whatever it is, just keep doing, you know, keep doing it." And I owe a lot of credit to my parents, man, because they really focused on us being kind to everybody. I mean, my mom, man, she'd slap the shit out of you if you weren't kind, right? Yeah. And that was to anybody. We could be in a grocery store and somebody said hi to us, and we didn't say hi back or hello, sir, or yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. And my mom would be like, "You better speak." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you better speak, you know? So, yeah, that was, I mean, just that whole sequence was cool. For sure. Man.
And from what I remember, like, you didn't come from much money at all, especially like when you were growing up. You're definitely very humble beginning. So can you kind of talk about like your upbringing? And
yeah, man. So, you know, born and raised here in El Paso, and grew up in that house, which was my grandmother's house before she passed, and then she left it to my dad. Now my dad, you know, he's a multi-felon. You know, he's got a lot of felonies and you know, just in and out of prison, you know, from the age of 18 to 40. And then my mom, when I was like age 6, she got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, MS. Oh, man. Yeah. So my mom had to be like that rock for us to raise us, right? But she couldn't work. You know, she was working until she got it, and then once it started getting really bad, she had to stop. That's
debilitating for a lot of people. Yeah,
absolutely. And then my dad had just got out of prison, and like weeks later, my grandmother passes away, right? So my dad, you know, he gets out of prison, decides he wants to change his life, right? And he was 40 at the time.
And when you're going, when you're going through that, like, he's in and out of prison as you guys are growing up.
Yeah.
What's like your mind? Like, what's your? I mean, he's your dad. You're always gonna love him, but at the same time, like, what's your thoughts behind that? Is it like, why are you kind of asking why he's kind of still in that, like, still kind of living that?
Man, so that's a really good question too. So my mom didn't allow us to have any judgment on my dad, right, for going in and out of prison. That's the one thing she would not allow us to do, right? You're gonna love your dad, and you're gonna respect him. You know, yeah, he's had some hardships, but everybody has hardships, right? So my mom like held it down, man, for my dad, you know, while he was in and out of prison. Yeah. And a lot of women wouldn't do that.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Most women would be like, "Oh, you're deadbeat dad," you know, because they're not getting child support or anything. Yeah. My mom was like, "No, like, I may feel some way about your dad, but you guys aren't gonna ever feel that the way I do about him, right?" So she wouldn't even give us detail of like why he went to prison, stuff like that. It would always be like, "Hey, he's going out of town for a little bit, and he'll come back, you know, soon." And that was kind of it, right? So as I grew up, my father was very, you know, he would instill discipline in us as well, right? So when he finally got out of prison, he wanted to change his life. So he had to drop everybody he associated with before he went to prison completely, which means like all his best friends gone, right? Because they were drug addicts, you know, and all the people like he would do business with, right, gone, right? So they heard he got out of prison. They would come by the house, and we were told like anybody that comes to ask for dad, other than family, tell him he doesn't live here, or like he's not here, right? So we had to do that, and then you know, about a year later, they stopped coming, you know, and then my dad was able to focus on his life, and he started working for a factory, Eureka Vacuums, you know, and as a forklift driver, and he did that for, you know, 10 years or something like that, 15 years. And then he went to Polo Jeans Factory, and then he did that for another, you know, 15 years, man. And when he retired, or actually like 10 years, and then when he retired, you know, he retired at an $8.25 hourly pay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's minimum. That's about minimum wage.
Minimum, yeah. And he was there for, actually he was with Eureka for about 8 years, and then he was with Polo Jeans for about 20 years, man. And within that time frame, like I said, he retired at, I mean, like low, man, like nothing really, you know. So he held it down, man. He really did. You know, he came out and he changed his life. Yeah. And so, you know, right now he's going through cancer. He's got stage 4 cancer, and me and my brothers, man, we've been trying to spend as much time with him, but not only that, but just like talk with him about stuff that he never shared with us, right? Like sometimes I'll get with him and I start asking him questions, right? Prison stories and all sorts of shit, you know. He's got crazy stories, but he would never tell us back then, you know. Yeah. Now he kind of like tells us, and up a little bit, he tells us some of the funny ones and shit, you know. So it's cool, man.
Yeah, and what do you think was responsible for? Because as a father, like you kind of, or as a son, you kind of see that it's not the most maybe it's not the most. I'm sure your mom really held it down, but it's not the most stable environment, right? Because I mean, a father being there is like really big. What kind of kept you level-headed? Was there ever a point where you started veering off, or were you always like, did you always kind of just keep your head and just have that good mindset throughout, like when you were growing up?
Yeah, man. You know, my mom. So moms back then are really different from moms nowadays, right? My mom, all my friends that I hung around with were like-minded. Okay, so like the 3, 4, 5 friends, we were all like-minded, which means we didn't do drugs, we played sports. We were always together playing hide and go seek and stuff in the neighborhood. And my mom, if there was a kid that like came into the group that she knew was bad news right off the bat, she would like, nope, you can't hang with such and such. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'd be like, hey, I want to go to such and such house. Nope. Like, you better go over to Danny's house. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I couldn't go. And back then I didn't realize, right?
Yeah.
I had no clue. Like, why would she let me go to Danny's or Ray's or this, right? But she don't let me go to this cat's. And but as I grew older, I was like, oh, he's arrested. You know, he's in jail.
It's crazy how they know they have that instinct, or they know
that
when
sixth sense, man.
Yeah.
That sixth sense. And you know, and she was like a real mom, man. Where, you know, if any of my friends acted up and she was present, she'd whoop all of us, right? Like she, you know, and like it's funny because we all got whooped from all of our parents, right? Like,
I mean, that's how it used to be back then. It wasn't that foreign to anybody. Now it's like, oh shit, but back then it
was normal, man. It was like, you act up at such and such's house, you gonna get your ass whooped over there, and if they tell me, you gonna get your ass whooped over here too, right? Yeah. So man, it was dope, man. And I tell you what, man, you couldn't pay me to have a different childhood, right? Like, I'm glad I grew up from humble beginnings, and not only did I from growing up with humble beginnings, but I'm so glad I grew up with, like, in my neighborhood, right? It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of laughter. It was a lot of memories. And it kind of molded me into what I am today, right? All of us were on the right track. All of us are successful now. All of us, you know, any one of those 5 guys that I would hang out with in my neighborhood are all successful.
That's amazing.
Which is cool, right? And that does not happen, man.
It doesn't.
It does not happen, man.
It's very different from the way we grew up, the way I grew up. Like, I think I was probably on the cusp of, like, not having a little bit of the same, like, oh, you go out, you play with friends, but I don't think it was to the same extent where, like, you guys were always outside, like, just hanging around, playing. Y'all would go to each other's houses. Now it's like, what is even a childhood now? Because it's a lot of it's like, if you're in sports now, it's like year round, and you're just constantly, like, you have personal trainers now. That's what you're doing. Yeah. It's and it's I don't think it's the same type of childhood, and I wonder what kind of effect that kind of will have on, because I mean, that teaches you a lot. I'm sure you learn so much through those experiences. But yeah, man. So, like, once you graduated, so you went to Bel Air, you graduated, and you played sports throughout high school. Mm-hmm. What did you envision yourself doing at that point in your life?
So, I always knew I'd be successful. I just didn't know doing what, right?
Yeah. So you had that, like, you felt like you were meant to do something.
Oh
big.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always knew, like, man, I'm gonna do something that I make money, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm an owner one day, and this, right? And as I started my career, I got into sales, which I started selling cell phones at T-Mobile. Mm. And this is where I knew I had a knack for sales. I started at T-Mobile. I was part-time. Making like $60,000 a year.
Oh, shit.
But it's because I was so good.
Yeah.
Right? I ended up becoming like the number 1 salesman within the entire, like, region. Right?
Yeah.
At T-Mobile. Right? And I'm like, I didn't even know there was a thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, they send me to Vegas. It was called Winter Circle at the time, to collect this award. And I mean, based off of the amount of contracts and phones that I had sold and stuff. And it was real cool. All expenses paid. All my friends went, like those 5 friends I'm talking about. Yeah. They all drove up there to meet me there, you know, and we all stayed in the same suite. You know what I mean? Like, that was crazy, man. It was a crazy 4 days, but it was a really, really good time. And so when I won that Winter Circle as a part-time salesman, I was like, what? Like, this is, like, I'm really good at this, right? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to kind of advance. So I left T-Mobile. I got into the car business. So I did 2 years in the car business, but I got a little lazy because I started making a little bit more money. But in the car business, you're kind of your own boss as a salesman. Your manager, they're on you, but they're not on you like 24/7. So it's really easy to kind of just slack off.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'd be leaving work to go hang out with this girl.
Or so you could kind of make your own hours there.
Yeah, you kind of. So, as long as you're getting the job done, as far as selling the amount of cars that they expect you to sell.
So you have a certain number you have to hit.
Yeah.
Is it a weekly thing or
monthly?
Monthly. Okay.
Right? So like, let's say the month before, you sell 20 cars. The next month, they're not gonna worry about you because they're like, okay, homeboy's getting it done. He sold 20 cars, right? And the expectancy is 10 cars a month. So if I'm selling 20 and they only expect me to sell 10, they ain't worried about me, So a lot of times I leave and this and that. So I didn't take it serious, but I was really young.
Yeah.
So I got out of the car business and went back into the cell phone business. And this time full time with AT&T. Did fantastic there. Same thing. But AT&T, I'm working, and a guy walks in and he goes, "Man, I really like you." And I just sold him a family plan for all his family and stuff. And he's like, "I'm a conductor for Union Pacific Railroad. Would you want to do something like that?" And I'm like, "What?"
Well, I don't even know what
Thomas
that entails.
the Train. You know what I mean? Like all I knew about, the only thing I knew about trains was like watching Thomas the Train, right?
Yeah.
So I tell him, "Well, what does it pay?" He's like, 6 figures. I was like, "Okay, let's do it. Like, what do I need to do?" He said, "Fill out the app. The best I can do is get you a interview. But from the interview, it's up to you, man. If you wow them or if you're able to get it."
And it was just off that interaction of you selling him
cell phones.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I still talk to the guy today. Really cool cat, man. And so I'm like, cool. I go home that night. Boom, boom, boom. I put in this. You have to do this like 70 question assessment. So I was like, man, I got to pass the assessment. I haven't taken one of these in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
So I start doing it, and it's like a personality. So I had my wife there with me, like, "Okay, babe, like, no, I don't like that answer. Put this one," right? And then, oh, that's a good answer, what not. So I ended up passing the assessment, and then I finished the application. Sure enough, like 2 days later, I get an email like, "Hey, you've been pushed to the next step. You have an interview," and it's in Odessa, Texas. So I'm like, shoot, okay. And a friend of mine, I don't remember how. I do. They made us go do a physical, and at the physical, there was some other guys from El Paso that were gonna go out to that interview. So I was like, well, how many jobs are they hiring?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's 3 here, and we were like, let's carpool. We'll just take one car all the way up to Odessa. So that's what we did. But we get up there, and there's 42 applicants, right? Or guys there for interviews. And we go into this auditorium, and then one guy's talking, and he's telling us what the railroad's like, and kind of what we'll make. And he's lying to us. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna make $40,000 a year, and it's gonna be such a hard job. Like, you're gonna be really hot, and then the coldest of cold, and then rain, and blah blah." And he's doing that to see who will get up and just leave. Like, "Oh, I don't want that." So sure enough, like 10 people get up and leave. So now it went from 42 to 32, right?
Yeah.
But then right at the end of his speech, he's like, "All right, guys, we only have 3 spots available. 3 spots available. There's, a little over 30 of you guys. We're going to start calling one by one individuals in for an interview." So I'm like, cool, like, man, I got to go in here. So the funny thing is I go wearing slacks, button up, tie, and almost everybody else except for like 2 other people are in like jeans, boots, like a Carhartt, button up, So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for like country type people, right? So I'm like, damn. And then one guy's like, "Yeah, I have previous railroad experience, so they're gonna hire me." You know? Like I did really good. So I'm like, damn. So there's 2 spots, right? So they call me in. I'm nervous, man. So I walk in there, and I walk in there, confidence through the roof, right? I'm nervous, but I'm confident.
Yeah.
So I go to every basically panelist that's there, and I shake their hand. So every panelist, I'm like, it's 5 of them, and the superintendent, which the superintendent was just sitting in. He's normally not at a panel for an interview, but I walk up and I shake each hand. I'm Anthony Christmas. I'm Anthony Christmas. I'm Anthony Christmas. Boom. So then they kind of like look at each other like, oh, okay. So then they asked me one question. They said, hey, man, we looked at your resume. You don't have anything on here of what we like to hire. So why should we hire you? And like without a thought, I mean, just the first thing that came to mind, I was like, I've never failed at anything. And that's all I said. I said, I never failed at anything, and this cannot be harder than 2-a-days in football. Right? Just like that. And so then they kind of like smiled, right? And they like looked at each other and they're like, okay, thank you. Have a great day. I was like, damn, I didn't get the job, right? Yeah. So I'm pretty upset at myself, like, God damn, like
but that was the first thing
to pop
instinct,
up. Like,
yeah.
I've never failed at anything, you know, because I haven't, right? I mean, I failed the test and stuff like that, but like actual life events, like I've never failed. I used to kick ass, right? So when I said it, that's just the first thing that came to mind. And when they smiled and like looked at each other, I was like, fuck, I didn't get it, you know? Yeah. So I walk out and then the other guys go and then.
So you thought they, in their heads, it was like, look at this motherfucker.
Yeah, like look at this cocky little kid, you know? And I'm only 22 at the time, right? Or, yeah, roughly about 22. Actually, I'm sorry, like 24. 24. So then all of a sudden, we get in the car to head back to El Paso. So on my phone, I get an email, and it's from the railroad. And I'm like, fuck, here's my decline letter, you know? So I'm the first one in the car to get it. And it says, congratulations, you got the job. I'm like, wow. I'm like through the roof, right? Yeah. So then me, you know, being nonchalant about it, I'm like, fellas, I just got the email. I got the job. And they're like, what? You know, so they start pulling out their phones to check to see if they got the email. So we're like 2 hours away from El Paso when I get the email, and nobody else is getting the email.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I'm like, fuck, man. And it's not my car either, right? So I'm like, damn, I should have just shut up. You know, I shouldn't have said nothing. Like, they're bummed out, you know? But yeah, we get back to El Paso. None of them got the job. I get it with these other two guys from like Odessa or wherever they were from. And yeah, man, we went to training, and I just started dating my wife, and we were dating for maybe 4 to 6 months, and they said, you got to move to Fort Worth, and you're going to be in a hotel for like 6 months during training. So I'm like, what? Like, dang. So, and my wife is like my soulmate, right? So I'm like, and it took me 2 years to get with my wife, right? So I'm like, damn, like I'm about to lose it.
Yeah.
So I tell her, like, I'm going to Fort Worth. You know, I didn't get a shot here in El Paso, and you know, I have to stay in a hotel for the next 6 months during training. And she goes, okay, when do we leave?
Okay,
let's go. You know, but yeah, so I did the railroad. Yeah. From railroad, they laid me off cold turkey one day. I was like, shit, okay, like, what do I do? So they laid off 4,500 employees. And immediately I said, I'm going to get back in the car business, but this time I'm going to take it serious. So not only am I going to do well, but I'm going to take it serious and just grow, right? So that's what I did, man. I jumped back into the car business. I was able to get promoted in 9 months. And it's hard to get promoted in 9 months in the car business. You just got to be on your shit, you know, at all times. So I got promoted, then did that for 5 years, learned everything, was great at it, great as a finance manager, got promoted again to a different dealer. I went to a different dealer, and now at another dealer, I'm promoted again, right? Yeah. So I'm right there, like itching towards the top. So
yeah. What would you attribute like your success in sales to? What is it? Because I'm sure people have different ways of selling, right?
Yeah.
What do you think has made you successful?
You know, I genuinely like to help people, right? That comes easy to me. So because of that, it makes sales easy. And because people can feel it. They can feel like my energy, and they feel it. They're like, fuck, I'm buying a car from this guy. And then they always come back to me. Mm-hmm. So, even though now I don't actually sell cars, I'm not on the sales floor, I'm running the entire organization, but I still get like 30 customers a month coming to ask for me. Like, hey, I'm here to see Christmas to buy a car. I'm here to see Christmas to buy a car. So I just get in with one of my sales guys, but it's definitely just honestly being genuine and loving to help people. Like, I love it. I get so much gratitude from it. Man.
Something that that stood out to me that you had said one day is on one of your podcasts. I think you've said it a couple times. But you're talking about how Shaq. One time he talked about how once he started focusing on the money and he started focusing on people. That's what changed a lot for you.
That's what made him rich, man.
Yeah.
And
when I heard that, I was like, wow, that really resonated with me. So
yeah. So Shaq is an incredible individual, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, if for those of you listening to this podcast, if you don't know enough about Shaq, like, go search him, right? The dude is a monster when it comes to business, and he has so many businesses, man, and so many streams of revenue. It's unreal, right? And they're all successful. But not only that, Shaq happens to be the number one selling sneaker ever. More than a Jordan. Right? No. It's the Shaqs.
It's the Shaqs, right? Yeah.
It's the Shaqs. Yeah. So, number one sneaker ever, right? And you wonder, like, what? Like, Shaqs? Yeah. But what he did was, I think he had a conversation. He talks about this, and he says he has a conversation with his dad, and his dad tells him, man, kids that grew up like you can't afford that shoe, because he was going to get a contract with, like, Nike or something like that. And he's like, you need to do something where the kids that grew up like we did can buy shoes, right? Mm-hmm. And right then and there, Shaq declined the offer, jumped over to Walmart and said, hey, I'm going to create a shoe. It's going to be cheap enough for everybody to buy. Yeah. And that's what he did. So, I mean, like you said, once he stopped focusing on the money and started focusing on the people, the money came. It was easy after that.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's something that, obviously, especially when you don't come from much, right? Like, it can be, and once you start having a little bit of success, right? Like, the money can kind of be it's a main driving factor for a lot of people, but at least I can say for myself, it's always been more about, I guess, my purpose and what I'm trying to put out into the world and how I'm trying to make an impact. Yeah. And what's always been told to me is, like, if you just do that, like, the money is going to come, it's going to find its way to you. You just have to continue to work. And I guess that's just the mindset, because I'm still in the early stages with a lot of it. So yeah, that's something that I just kind of try to hold to myself,
Yeah. The best advice I could give when it comes to, like, earning good money, being being up there in the 10%, the 1%, right? It all comes down to work ethic, right? If your work ethic isn't there, you're not going to do anything. You can be the smartest guy ever. If your work ethic isn't there, you won't accomplish anything. And I'm a big fan of Denzel, and Denzel says movement without progress is just movement. Everybody can run in place. But once you start running and getting somewhere, you're going, right? What I had to do is I had to change my pace from walking to running, right? And what I mean by that is just work ethic wise. I had like a work ethic, like I'm good and I could get it done and still be an overachiever. But then I went to like, nah, I got overdrive. Like, I can sprint.
What flipped that switch for you?
When I got laid off from the railroad. When I got laid off from railroad, I was like, I'm done. Like, let's go. It's time, right? I found the lady of my dreams. I owe it to her. Not only do I owe it to her, but I owe it to myself. I owe it to my family. Let's go. And I just turned it on. Boom. And as soon as I did that, I could just see the little things changing. Like, oh, I bought my dream car. And then, oh, shoot, I bought my first house. And then, bam, I bought my dream house. And then bought 8 dream cars. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, what? It was like happening so fast. And vacations I never thought I'd go on, right? And when I did that, I was like, shit, man. Like, that thought process, when I got laid off from the railroad, which was a blessing in disguise, I thought my life was over. I was like, God damn, I just lost such a good job, It just changed me, man.
Yeah.
And it woke me up. It lit that fire. I got after it. Like,
yeah, that's amazing. What would you say to someone who has that drive, who has that fire? Because I know a lot of people, like, especially my age, that have that drive, they have that fire, but they don't even know necessarily what to put that in. It's like there a lot of people are lost in that way where they know they want to do something, but it's like
what do I do?
Where do I even start? Like, I know a lot of people like that. So
yeah, so for me, if I had to start all over completely, and I didn't know what I'd never had a job before, I would try some things, or I would just think to myself, what comes easy? What do I do that comes easy? Right? I know I can talk to people very easy, right? So, okay, now that I know that I could talk to people very easily, what fields of business can I go in that I do that, right? Okay, real estate, sales, car sales, cell phone sales, anything, right? Podcast, exactly. So once you figure that out, okay, I'm doing what comes easy to me, so I'm not really working hard. But if I have the work ethic and the fire, oh my man, you kill it.
Yeah.
I have kids that start working with me selling cars, and I just teach them the game of selling cars, right? And the art. Once I teach the art, they're already blessed with the talent, being able to talk to people. All they have to do is have the work ethic. And some will have the work ethic, or some will have all the talent in the world, but they don't do nothing with it because they ain't got the work ethic.
Yeah.
And then there's some that have the work ethic plus all the talent, and those you can't beat.
Yeah.
You can never beat the guy with the work ethic and talent.
Yeah.
It's just impossible, right? Now, you have those that work hard that don't have the talent, and they do good, but they'll never beat the guy that has the talent and the work ethic.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And can you tell when, like, let's just say when you're hiring somebody, can you tell, you can usually tell, like, if they have that talent in a way.
100%.
Can you tell if they have the work ethic, though?
So
is that something you have to kind of, like...
You definitely can't tell if they have the work ethic. And there's little things that I tell you, like, all right, he has a little bit of a work ethic, right? Sometimes it could be a previous job, and I'm like, oh shoot, that job, you got to work your ass off, right? So I'm like, okay, like, he has some work ethic, because in order to work here, you've got to be moving,
Yeah.
So that's the only way I could really tell.
Yeah.
Now, I could tell the talent right away. Like, I'm like, oh shoot, this guy is made for this, right? And I tell him right then and there in the interview, I'm like, bro, you're made for this job. Like, you're gonna make more money than you ever thought you could make. And then they're like what? Huh? And I get them. Then they're all excited. But I'm being honest. I'm not trying to just get them pumped up.
Yeah.
And lie to them. I'm like, no, you're gonna make more money than you ever thought you could make, right? All of a sudden they start. First month they make 20, 25 grand. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, and they're and they're 21 years old, and they're like, what the hell? Like, this is possible?
Yeah.
And once they see it and they feel it, then sometimes it could be a reverse effect. Sometimes they see it and feel it, and get that money, and they get lazy.
Yeah.
Then there's others that are like, I'll never have a bad check ever.
Yeah,
so it could be one or two ways.
What's something like when you can look back on your life, it could be either like recent or maybe something that happened like in the past, something that you maybe had to overcome mentally. Maybe it could be like an event or something that you kind of carry with you to this day, or maybe an interaction you've had. Is there something that comes to mind when you think about that, like something you've had to overcome when it comes to just like your overall mental health? And
so the biggest thing that I've ever had to overcome was not getting into drugs. Okay. It was just so easily accessible. And thank God for like having some friends that also didn't do it, so I had some positive influences, right? But I also had a lot of friends that did. And as I got older and I got into high school, I had a lot more friends, man. I talked to everybody in the high school. I wasn't even in the yearbook the yearbook committee, but I still had to throw my 10-year anniversary, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Like, why is Christmas throwing the 10-year? Yeah. He wasn't even in the committee, but they're like, Christmas, because you know everybody, right? But
and you do, because like I know so many people, like so many people, or you go anywhere and it's like, is that just who you've always been? Like you just kinda,
always, man, always. And it's not like I'm like everywhere I go, I'm like, hey. I don't, right? But for some reason, I don't know what it is about myself. I attract people, and all of a sudden, like I'm chilling, I'm talking to my 3 friends, and then there's 8 other guys that are behind me like, hey, I know you from somewhere, right? And then we start talking, and then, before you know it, you're like, what the heck? And now I'm really cool with these guys, So I don't know how I'm blessed with that. I just am, but as I went through high school, it was really, accessible. But my parents were also addicted to drugs at one time. My dad, when he was out of prison, as I was growing up, he was, highly addicted to heroin, and he would do it right there in front of us,
Wow.
And so, and then it was like he was a ghost, because you would try to talk to him. I could be like, Dad, what are we going to eat? And then he would just like look at me like I wasn't even there. You know what I'm saying? And it was because of the drug, right? So there was a lot of things that my parents did that I told myself I'd never do, which I don't drink coffee because my parents were addicted to coffee, right? They drink it all day.
I think a lot of people are addicted to coffee, bro.
A lot of people, bro. And so I don't drink energy drinks or coffee, right? They were addicted to cigarettes. They smoke 2 packs a day. I'll never smoke a cigarette, right? Obviously, drugs. I've never done any drug. And my life has been great. I mean, I've had really good times not doing any of that stuff. So some people are like, man, I still like to do this, or I still like to do that. Like the best times I've ever had are with these drugs. And I'm like, nah, you can still have those same good times without it.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
For sure.
Some people just don't try it, or they don't like give themselves the opportunity to have a good time without it. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, for sure. That's especially if you were surrounded by that your entire upbringing. I think it's not that it's a miracle, but damn near like it's like
it is, man.
That's amazing, because I know a lot of people that I grew up with, because I grew up in the Northeast. I went to Andress, so
yeah.
But there's definitely a lot of people I grew up with that their parents were kind of part of that same thing, and that can be really having a big influence on
a negative or positive effect.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in your case, it was a positive. You just look at it and you're like, I never want to even associate with that. So,
and it was cool because my older brother and older sister, they were also like that. They never wanted to. So it helped. It helped me like, oh, they don't do it, I don't want to ever want to do it, and they don't do it, so I could get through life without it, you know.
For sure.
And so it was just that was really, really good, man. You know, my parents, a lot of people will resent their parents for a lot of the stuff that we went through as kids. But I'm so thankful for my parents. I'm like, God damn, man, I couldn't tell you in words how much I love my parents and how thankful I am that they showed me these wrongs, not what to do, you know, of what not to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And if I had to just, if you told me I could have, you know, Will Smith's parents, right, in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, his uncle and aunt, right, Phil and whatnot, or have my parents. Obviously, they were rich, they had a lot of money, but my parents didn't have nothing. I would pick my parents tenfold. Yeah. Because I wouldn't be half the man I am today without that. Yeah. You know? Because even though they didn't do the best, they definitely didn't have the best influence of what they did. They raised us right, man. Yeah. They raised us to be, you know, like I said earlier, kind and caring and, you know, look after one another, like have love for my family and my brothers and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's amazing, man.
That was nice, man.
Yeah. And how long have you been married for?
I've been married for 8 years. 8 years. Together for 10 years, man.
Wow. Okay.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. So how'd you meet your woman? How did that story come on? Because you said that was the love of your life. So.
Oh man, she the first day I saw her, I was like blown away. I was like, man.
Do you remember where was it at?
It was at L House.
Okay. So hey, that's a good. That's
it was
a
at
cool
the L House bar.
Lee Trevino.
Yeah, I used to go all the time. Yeah. And she was there with her boyfriend.
I remember you saying it. Yeah. He basically
he introduced me.
Yeah,
yeah. And not only did he introduce me, but he was like, "You don't know this guy?" He was like,
he was gassing you. Yeah.
He gassed me, bro. You know, and he was like, "Everybody knows this guy. This guy's great, and you know, everybody loves him, and blah blah, and this and this." And so she was just like, "Okay," you know, like she didn't get all excited at all. Yeah. She just kind of like gave me a little smile and then shook my hand, you know. Yeah. But I was thinking, God damn, like that chick was bad, you know. Yeah. So I didn't think anything.
So you were what, like 20? How old were you at this time?
I was 22, like 22, almost 23. Yeah. When that happened, and then sure enough, like 6 months later, she adds me on Twitter. So I was like, "What? It's that chick." So me being like non-abrasive, you know what I'm saying? I kind of hit her with like, "Hey, how's Nick doing?" Right? Yeah. And then she was like, because I didn't see him at all on her, like any of her feed. So she's like, "We're actually not together anymore." I was like, "Say what?
Say less."
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I hit her with, you know, like just some funny stuff, you know, like laughing and this and before you knew it, she was already in another relationship. I didn't ask, but when I finally did ask, she was like, "Well, I'm actually dating another guy." But she knew it wasn't serious. She was like, "We just like to party together, you know?" And she's like, "And honestly, I'm not faithful." And he knows it. But we just like to party together, and this is what it is, right? We're young, you know, we're having fun. So she was honest, and I was like, "Damn!" Like I've never had a chick tell me she ain't faithful. She's not faithful.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So so I was like, "Well, if you ain't faithful, well then don't be, you know, cheat with me." You know what I'm saying? And then she was like, "Nope." She was like, "You're like marriage material, so I won't cheat with you." And I'm like, "Fuck!" Like, so I was like, "Nah, maybe she's just not attracted to me," you know. Yeah. So then, anyway, we talked for like 2 years, real good friends, and then I was 25, and she breaks up with this guy. So I'm like, "All right, it's my fucking chance, right?"
Yeah. Hold up. Before that go into that, what do you think that is when a girl like she says you're marriage material and like she actually might she might really like fuck with you. She might really like you, but she was with this other dude.
Yeah.
Just because it was
fun.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's kind of crazy to me.
Crazy, man. And
yeah,
because women do that. I mean, in their younger years, they're like, shit. My wife knew already. She knew, like, my younger years, I'm gonna have all the fun I can.
Even though she had a boyfriend, but she saw the potential in you. Type
exactly. And we never did shit. We stayed like friends and just, I mean, cool. Like, I mean, we liked each other, but it was like we kind of expressed it one time, and then we left it at that. Like, all right, and so she knew I liked her 10 times more than she liked me.
Yeah.
You know? I was probably in love with her already, and she didn't even know it. But so then she finally hit me with like, yeah, me and Mike broke up, blah blah. So I was like, bet. So we went out on my bike, riding, had a good time that weekend. Next weekend, did it again. So then this time, like, she invited me back to the house. I was like, shit,
Yeah.
So I ended up staying the night.
Yeah.
But what's even funnier, man? So, we get in the house and she'll kill me if she knew I told this story. But so we get in the house and everything, and we're getting a little hot and heavy. You know what I'm saying? And bruh. I was so nervous I couldn't get it up.
Okay, yeah.
I just was like I was like, this chick I've been like this chick I've been trying to date for 2 years. I'm like head over heels for her. I was just too nervous. I was thinking about too much. Like,
no, for sure.
I was just thinking about way too much, man, and it just was not working.
Yeah. Hey, that shit. Just to be transparent, that shit happens to a lot of fucking
people. It does, bro. It really does.
Yeah, because you could really like the girl, but it's just like that could be too much, bro. That little moment. And
it does, man. And it happened, and I was like, what is going on? And I'm like, bro, don't fail me, man. Don't fail me.
Yeah.
But shortly after, man, so we don't do anything.
Yeah.
And we lay there, and we're like kind of laugh about it. She's laughing about it, and because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck happened. Like, this has never happened to me before, right? So she's like, yeah, like like joking and shit.
Yeah.
So next day we tried again, same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I'm like, God damn, like what the fuck? But that third day, bro.
That third day, okay.
That third day. I had the kinks worked out, bro.
Yeah, I feel you.
I was comfortable enough.
Yeah,
now,
and that's how you know, like, she was the one, bro. Because like the fact that
she even gave me till third day. You know?
It was like that. The fact that she was like, it's cool. Like that says a lot, bro. The fact that's hilarious. So
yeah, man. And so we started dating like 2 weeks after that, and then our 2-year anniversary, I asked her to marry me. 2-year anniversary. And actually 1-year anniversary, I asked her to marry me, and then 2-year anniversary, we got married by just court. And then after we got married by court, then 2 years after that, we got married by church. So yeah, it was cool, man. We had a huge wedding. 650 guests.
Wow.
So yeah, it was big. It was expensive. It was nice. It was fun. It went by way too fast.
Yeah. What have you learned in the past, and since you guys been together for 8 or 10 years, technically 8 years married? What's probably what's the biggest thing you've kind of learned about yourself through this process of marriage? Would you say?
I can communicate better than what I thought I could, right? Or better than I was. Once I got married, I realized like communication is such a big deal, right? And once you like get married and you're starting to like work out those kinks of what's gonna make it work, you realize communication is like the threshold of all of it, right? It's what'll make the relationship work. And I wasn't really good at communication. I thought I was, but I really wasn't. I was really good at communicating at work, but once I got home, I was tired. I was burnt out, So I would like like cut the communication, and then I started to get better and better and better, and then before you know it, you know, we like have a lot more successful relationship because I know how to communicate 10 times better than I did when we started dating. Yeah. Right. But then the other thing would be affirmation, man. Is, you know, never stop dating, you know, like, and I don't ever look at it as, I use the term never stop dating, but I don't ever like look at it like that. I just look at it as like, I still have to do the things I did when we were dating, which is like compliment her, you know, laugh at her jokes, you know, even if they ain't funny. You know what I'm saying?
Like you gotta do it.
Yeah, you just gotta do it. You just gotta do it, you know? But, you know, and pay attention, man. Get off your phone, you know? You know, as long as you're doing those things, man, god damn, dude, any relationship will work. I promise you. It's just those things. And then obviously, you know, loyalty. But, you know, loyalty is key. Yeah. It really, really is, man. And I'm not saying that me and my wife have been perfect in our relationship because we haven't, but we like understood like we're going to work at it no matter what. We're going to give ourselves the benefit of the doubt no matter what and figure out a way to make it work. And we have. Yeah. And I mean, shit, every year it gets better.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, maybe it's from, I don't know if it's accurate, but at least from my perspective, I find it, it's really hard to see very good marriages and families nowadays.
Yeah.
At least from what I've seen. So the fact that like you see a successful, you're a prime example of it is actually like, that's amazing, man. Like,
appreciate that, man.
And do you feel like, as far as like your career, do you feel like you getting married or you dating, do you think that could actually positively impact you in your career or what you want to do? Because some people might see it as like you get into this relationship and it's gonna maybe hinder you. Do you feel like it's kind of propelled you in a way, or do you feel, have you seen that kind of have any relationship to one another?
Man, that's a great question. It's 1,000% propelled me.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, one is because you want to impress your wife, right? So I always wanted to impress her, right? And I knew it took money to do so. And it didn't take money because she's not materialistic, but I just wanted to do things that she had never had done for her, you know? And take her on trips that she had never been, and like just have so many new experiences within each other. And I knew it took money. So it like made me work 10 times harder to get it, right? But the other thing is she doesn't let me take a break. Like Anthony, get on your shit, you know? That's literally how she talks to me, like, you know, hey, like, you're fucking up.
Yeah.
You've been to the bar 3 times this week. You woke up late to work, you know, one of those times, and you didn't have a productive week.
So she holds you accountable to the
hell
fullest.
Yeah. You know, sometimes she's yelling, you know what I'm saying? But most of the time she's pretty calm, you know? But as long as you have that, man, I promise, man, a woman will make you excel so much. Now, obviously, they've got to be mature enough to do those things. Some women, they don't say shit. They just, you know, they're just there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My preference is I wanted a woman that understood what it takes to be successful, but also like believed in me to get that, and would be there to put me back on my high horse. You know what I'm saying? Like when I fell off, like, nope, get your ass back up and let's go.
And the fact that you work you do work, how many hours do you work a week, would you say?
Shit, man, I work about 65 to 70 hours a week.
Wow.
So that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part the first 2 years. She could not understand. You know, I want to spend time with my husband. And we had so many arguments, man. I'm like, I'm working. Like, and then plus I have a lot of friends. So sometimes when I get off work, I wanted to go hang with a friend, or, you know, it was his birthday party and I go, you know, say what's up or whatever. And she's a homebody. She doesn't like to go out much. So she would really like hone in on spending time and quality time though.
Yeah.
You know, not just like I got home and we slept in the same bed, you know, like, no, we got to have a conversation and eat dinner together. And that was the hardest part. Now, once she got used to that and she realized like, you know what, he's just working hard, you know, I've got to do a little bit more. So what she started to do is she started to like go out of her way to stay up to wait for me to get off, right? So instead of being asleep, she'd stay up so we could have a conversation, maybe even eat dinner. Yeah. Even though she wanted to eat a lot earlier. Yeah. Right?
You're getting home, what, like at 9 or 10 or what?
9:30, 10 o'clock. 10. Sometimes 11, sometimes 12, right? Yeah. And she would still be, hey, I'm waiting for you.
Wow.
And that's what makes a relationship work, man, is like a little bit of sacrifice.
Yeah. Man, that's dope. Do you feel like it's do you feel like dating at least, I mean, you've been married for like 8 to together with her for 10 years, yeah. So maybe not your first-hand experience, obviously, but from what you've seen, do you feel like dating has changed nowadays, like compared to what it was?
Big time.
Yeah.
Bro, it's all about Riz, bro. It's like women, they don't look for the motivated individual anymore. Like the motivated, like career-driven, smart guy. They look for like how much Riz you got. You know what I mean? Like, can you impress me with your you know, your first 3 lines? You know what I'm saying? And
it's a very short-term way of thinking, right?
It's short-term, man. Yeah. It's the fun term, in my opinion. Yeah. So I feel like in order to get a girl that appreciates somebody and looks for those kind of qualities in a man, like the good qualities, she's got to be at least 27. Yeah. You know, nowadays. Yeah. Back then, you get them like at 23, 24, you know. But now it's like 27,
What do you think
28.
changed that? What do you think kind of changed that? Social media?
Big time social media. But also, like, kids aren't social. So they don't even know what qualities to look for because they don't talk to anybody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're in the house on the game all day. You know, man, my godson was telling me, man, I went to the dance and there was like 19 people. And I was like, you went to the dance in high school and there was 19 people? He's like, bro, they wanted to be home playing Fortnite or whatever, you know? Like, that's crazy to me. Yeah. Because back when I was a kid, you know, like, it was like, man, the dance was like everything, bro. You know, we were waiting for Back That Ass Up to come on by Juvenile. And, like, that's when you went and got a girl to dance with you. But, yeah, man, it's changed so much, man. It really has. And I'm only 35, you know? Yeah. So I feel like I'm like the last generation, if not like the second to last generation before like things got weird. Yeah. You know?
Because I'm in the mix right now, bro. Yeah. That's just like, but I try to not to let it affect me. And that's why I say, like, just kind of, I feel like the right person's right out there for a lot of people, for everybody, you know? I think it's just being patient and really I'm just kind of focused on what I got. Because don't get me wrong, like, when I see like what you got and what other, like, I know other people that are very happily like in a relationship with people, I'm like, damn, that seems like that's dope, man. Like but it seems very far-fetched nowadays. Yeah. So that's why I think a lot of people can get kind of discouraged.
You know, it comes like when you least expect it. Yeah. Right? All of a sudden you meet a girl and then she's like career driven and motivated and like very like mature, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. But you also have to realize when you have that.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and on the flip side, don't get me wrong, dudes now are like we have our issues too, man. Like there's definitely a lot of things that, I mean, shit, a lot of us like to stay inside and play fucking games all day. Like,
all day.
Yeah.
Even as adults.
Yeah.
Like, I have friends, man, that they play Fortnite and these other games as soon as they get home from work until they go to sleep. Like, what? Like, what? How does your wife let you do that?
Oh, they're married.
They're married.
Oh, shit.
You know what I'm saying? So I just can't see it.
Yeah.
Like, my wife doesn't let me be on my phone for 10 minutes. You know,
Yeah.
she's like, get off your phone and talk to me, right? But a lot of relationships, man, will definitely fail for that reason. You know, no communication, no real like emotion within you know the two. Because you know they're just worried about what's on social media or what's what video game they're playing. You know, guys, man, you guys gotta stop that shit, man. I gotta say it. You know, get off the goddamn game. Get off the damn game.
Hell
you know?
yeah.
But
for sure.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 23.
23.
Yeah, so I'll be 24 in this month. So
gotcha. Yeah. You're man. I'll tell you this, you're still in the limelight, right? You're still like in that age bracket where you could have fun and you don't have to look for something serious. But if you find it, like let's say you get a girl and she happens to be all those qualities, absolutely, man. And you know, you could see yourself with her forever, 100%. You know, you there's no age to where you have to say like, all right, like now I can settle
ready,
down. No, you could just settle down if it's the right one, you know?
Nah, for sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. So where you're at right now as far as like your career, what do you see that's on the horizon? Because I mean, I see that the drive, like that doesn't stop for you. So what do you kind of envision for yourself here in the future, and what are you striving towards right now? Yeah,
so hopefully within the next 5 years I'm an owner.
Of a dealership? Yeah. So right now you're at Bravo Cadillac?
I'm at Bravo Cadillac. Yeah. I'm the general sales manager. And I completed dealer school, which is NADA Academy, last year.
Wow, okay.
In November. And that's like the Harvard of like dealers, right? They teach you how to be an owner. And the last dealership I was at sent me, right? Which I thought I was going to stay with that auto group forever.
Yeah.
But, you know, I got a really good, opportunity and I jumped on it. But I definitely want to be an owner within the next 5 years. Now that I got, dealer school out the way and I've got a really good understanding of what it takes to be successful in this business. So in due time, man, due time, I'll be an owner. And, obviously I got other little projects on the side. I've got a little thing in the works right now with, maybe a bar or something like that. So, I mean, it's nice, you know what I mean? But I definitely want multiple streams of income, and a lot of them, but, and I don't mind failing. A lot of people do. But in order to be successful, you got to be okay with a thought of failure. Not saying that you're gonna fail or you're like, oh, if it fails, it is what it is. No, but you have to be okay with like, man, what if this fails? Like, am I okay? And I'm okay with that. I love to be uncomfortable, right? I love to put myself in uncomfortable situations. And that's what makes me so successful now, right? I stay uncomfortable, I'm always teaching myself something new, learning something different, inspiring others, right? I love to inspire and motivate and teach, people I don't like to say beneath me, but colleagues
that are coming up.
That are coming up. Yeah, that are coming up. So, if you stay uncomfortable, man, you'll read that in a lot of books, staying uncomfortable. But if you stay uncomfortable, it is 100% true. You will easily, accomplish a lot of the goals that you really, really want.
Yeah.
You just gotta. You can't be afraid of that failure.
I also think like a lot of it is fear of failure. And then what I was thinking about, I heard it somewhere, and we were talking about on the last pod. A lot of it is the thought of what people are going to think of you if you fail. So like a lot of people are worried about like, oh, let's just say you try something, right? You start a podcast, you start whatever, or you want to start your business. And then a lot of people are kind of just thinking about what other people are going to say if, oh, you like what happened? Like you didn't end up doing this. Like,
yeah.
So, but something I like to go by is like, it says more that you're willing to put yourself in that position. Mm-hmm. It says more about you, who you are as a person, that you're willing to kind of take that risk and put yourself out there. And even if you do fail, like you're going to learn something, right? Like you're going to learn something from that.
Yeah. To me, I don't think of anything as failure, right? It's just a lesson learned. And whenever you strive to do these things that take a lot of like effort, and you fail, it could take a lot out of you. It really can. And what's worse is it can really like change your outlook on life. Like, man, I'll never do that again. And that's the worst thing you could do. Because you just hinder yourself from so many possibilities of extreme growth and success, right? So if you do fail, you still have to have that mindset, like let's go.
Yeah.
Like, what's the next venture? And I'm going to throw everything at it. And when you're young, like your age, if you save 50 grand and you throw 50 grand into something that you really want to succeed, and it's every bit of your savings, and it may have taken you 5 years to save it, who cares if you fail? You're 23.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have 50 more years to make crazy amounts of money, right? It's just money. I tell that to everybody. You know, my backyard, I'll give you an example.
It looks dope, man.
Thank you.
It looks
Thank
fucking
you.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to have you over for a podcast too, man.
That'd be sick.
So we could do it in the backyard. But when me and my wife started designing our backyard, our house cost $425,000.
Wow.
Plus the upgrades and everything, you're probably talking about $500.
Yeah.
I think is what we spent. When I started doing my backyard, I have a big backyard. They quoted me $325,000.
Oh shit.
So almost as much as the house, right?
Yeah.
Most people be scared of that. I was like, fuck no. Run it.
Yeah.
Right? Run it.
That shit.
Like, let's go. Right?
Yeah.
And I built the backyard of my dreams. But because I'll make it again.
Yeah.
I'm not scared. Right? Most people are like, man, it took me 10 years to say that, or this and this, right? Fuck that. Run that shit. I'll make that shit all over again. Matter of fact, it's going to put a fire in my ass even bigger so that I can go harder to get it faster, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I look at life, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's a clear, I mean, I'm sure you look at it every day. It's like a clear, like, just a visual of the work that you put in and what you're striving towards. Just looking at that backyard, because it's like, damn, like I really did this, man.
Yeah.
Man, that's so dope. That's so awesome.
Thanks, man.
And I want to give you flowers too about the podcast, man. Like that's amazing. Like what you guys got going on, and
Thanks,
your co-host had David, right?
David, yeah.
He seems like a really dope dude, man. I like what he has to say on the pod, and like he's really, you guys work very well together.
Yeah. Dave's a good guy, man. And you know, right now he's trying. What you had said something earlier that reminded me of him when you were like, man, I have the drive, but I'm trying to figure out what it is that I want to do, right? Dave's the same way. Dave has the drive, but he does not know what he wants to do. And you know, he's 27 now, and he's at that point where he's like, man, I'm getting frustrated because I haven't found out what it is, like that's my niche. I'm just working right now, and I'm working. I'm unhappy because like it's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's not that he wants to make a crazy amount of money. He just wants to do something that he loves, that he absolutely loves. And so, I was just telling him, I said, man, one of the things that I want him to do is I want him to, by himself, do something he would have never done otherwise. Like, if I didn't tell him anything, he would have never done it. So find something to do. And he's like what? Like what? And like what? And I said, I'll give you an example. Like, go to the airport, book the next flight out. Right? He's like, and I'm like, all right, let's say it says Aspen. And I say that because of Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, do something just super spontaneous and go by yourself. Get a hotel and stay there and sightsee and just do something. And you will actually get ideas of what you want to do.
Yeah. I kind of did that. I went to Thailand last year for 2 months.
2 months?
I was out there and I went alone. It was something I wanted to do. And because I do videography, and I was at the time I was posting on YouTube videos, doing vlogs and whatnot, and I just wanted to go out there and just do like travel videos and because I saw my brother kind of did the same, and I went out to Thailand for 2 months. And what you say is like, it's crazy that you say that, like, but for sure, not gonna lie, I kind of had a rough times out there just because I was out there alone, and there's so many different factors that were I wasn't in the best place mentally. To really fully
enjoy it and take it all in.
It was amazing, and I want to do it back, run it back again. But it was just, I guess, when it comes to like the anxiety I was going through and just kind of all the moving parts in my life where I was kind of trying to figure out, it was a lot. So I ended up coming back.
Gotcha.
But the experience that I got from that was like, I feel like I could do anything after that because it was, just the kind of people you meet and knowing people from like the UK, Germany. It's like, I just thought it was dope that you said that because, that can do a lot for a person. Just the perspective it gives you of just leaving your hometown and just
crazy, man.
There's so much out there.
Crazy. And the biggest thing is your brain automatically like try to adjust to figure it out. Yeah. Right. What I mean by that is like, let's say, for instance, you get, you're 15 years old and you're in Thailand with your parents and you lose your parents. Like, at first it's panic.
Yeah.
And then your brain just starts to adjust and figure it out. Like, okay, I remember this place. Okay, we were over here. Yeah. And then boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden you found them, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what's going to happen for anybody that's struggling with finding a purpose. Just do something random. It doesn't even have to be a trip. It could be anything. But just do something random and you'll start to get ideas of like stuff you might want to do, right? Yeah. And based off of that, it could really like change your life.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I feel like Dave, he's gonna take one of these trips or something, and he's gonna meet the love of his life. 'Cause he right now, I think he really wants to meet somebody that he can settle down with. You know, and all the girls he's meeting, because he's younger, in your age group, they're like immature and just kind of like what marriage?
Them
like
Paso girls, man, something different.
Yeah, exactly, man. So. Yeah, they start talking about marriage, or he starts talking about marriage and stuff because that's his religion. Yeah, and they're like, "Oh fuck no!" Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for sure.
But that's funny, man.
Yeah, you definitely will get, like you said, even if you just you're gonna figure it out. You put yourself in that position, and even if it doesn't, you don't come out with it with like, this is exactly what I want to do. You just learn more about yourself, and from there you can just start building on from that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man, that's amazing. But for someone who's out there that is kind of in a position where they're struggling, maybe something just happened to them. I don't know. Maybe they lost someone, or like for me, I've dealt with a lot of like anxiety, panic attacks, and just things like that. That's something that really, thankfully this year I've really gotten to understand more about it and get to a better place. But yeah, for a while I was really struggling with it. But let's just say there's someone out there that's struggling with that, or what's something advice you would just give them, something you would want to say to them right now?
You know, if you're lost or you have anxiety, I've only experienced an anxiety attack once in my life, right? So I don't know what it's like to experience it day in and day out.
Do you remember
some people?
Do you remember what caused it?
I don't remember what caused it. I just all of a sudden was like what the fuck, you know? Like my mind was going crazy, and I didn't even know what was making me do it. It just was like, what the heck? But I just remember just laying there, like in my bed, and just having this anxiety attack, and I just like, it's gonna go away. I'll just wait here till it does. You know, and it finally did. But you've got to really find something that makes you happy, right? And because some people that are lost, they're like, man, I've tried everything. Nothing makes me happy. But then it's your outlook on everything. So you got to change your outlook. Sometimes my wife would be like, I don't like this. And then I say, okay, but think of it as this. And then she's like, oh, like, I like it, you know, just by the perception, the outlook, right? Change your perception of how you feel about certain things, and certain things will change, right? So it could be anything. It could be shit. You go to McDonald's, you go work for McDonald's, you hate fucking McDonald's. But something about the fry machine you like, right? Or somebody teaches you like this random fact about the oil that's in the fry machine. You're like, that's badass.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're like, I love flipping fries.
For
or,
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like dumping fries.
Yeah.
Like it's my thing.
Yeah. One of my boys that worked at Dairy Queen, he was flipping burgers for a while. He was a D1 college athlete. He wanted to go to the league, but when he was working there, he was like, even though this is not what I want to do, but I'm flipping burgers, I'm gonna be the best goddamn burger flipper in the world.
Ever in the world.
Yeah.
Right. I would be the same way. Right. In anything I did, you could put me as a janitor. I'm gonna have the cleanest fucking everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna walk into my McDonald's and feel like you're in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like at the Bellagio. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you know, change your perception of how you feel about certain things or about everything. And all of a sudden you'll start to see your mind change on what you really like or what you don't like, or even like your happiness or you being lost. You're like, well, fuck, I was never lost. I just wasn't looking at life the right way. You know?
Yeah. No, for sure. You might have been lost, but the thing that you need or thing you want to do might be right in front of you. You just got to change that perspective. Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Perspective, man. And that's everything. But yeah, that would be my advice for sure on that.
Damn. Hell yeah, man. Well, we've been doing, what was it? Damn, it's been an hour 30, and it didn't even feel like it. That's crazy.
It didn't, man. Hey, we're rolling, man.
Yeah, for sure.
We're rolling. But I definitely appreciate you having me, man. And it's definitely been you've got an amazing setup, man.
I appreciate it.
You've got a fan base out there, you know, listening to you, man. And you know, you damn sure had some good questions for me, man. Somebody didn't expect, you know.
Yeah. I had to, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad you made it, man. And it's like, for sure, from the first, I think we have a few mutual friends, and once I started hearing more about you, I was like, damn, like, we definitely need to make this happen. And
appreciate it.
But yeah, man, I mean, if I could help you out in any way with whatever you got going on, I would love to support.
Absolutely.
And I'm always there. Yeah. And Like I said, I love what you got going on, especially with the podcast. Like I tune in all the time, and you guys have some really good conversation on there. So I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, man. And, if you guys get a chance, hit me up on Black and White Podcast. Mm-hmm. We're on all the streams, and we just try to bring something out there that is just daily conversation, mm-hmm. and sometimes it turns into serious, sometimes it's funny, it could be a little bit of anything. For sure.
I find myself laughing out loud to those a few times. yeah. But then there's times where it's like, oh shit, like
that's deep.
Yeah, for sure. So I really fuck with it, man. It's dope.
Appreciate that.
But yeah, man, I mean, that's episode 20. So
episode 20, baby.
Yeah, big
this is a staple. Yeah.
For sure. I had to get the man Christmas for episode 20, man. That's
appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, hell yeah. And it's so yeah, Anthony Christmas for you guys, and Most Vulnerable Player episode 20. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and yeah, man, where can they follow you on Instagram?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Mr. Christmas 88, or Facebook, mm-hmm. Anthony Christmas. I post a lot of car stuff, mm-hmm. but every now and then I throw something motivational in there for everybody. But and also if you guys are looking for a car, I'm at Bravo Cadillac. Just ask for Anthony Christmas. I'll get you taken care of. Best deals in town. Best trade-in value by far. But we'll get you taken care of.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
That's Anthony Christmas. Thank y'all for tuning in. And I appreciate all the support, man.
Absolutely.
You guys.
Glad to be
here. See y'all later. Yes, sir.
Later. That was good, man. Yes, sir. Heck yeah.